You are now listening to The Final Word, the #1 Pacers podcast on the web, hosted by me, Raj, and my son, Preston. Pop by to listen to what we have to say about the state of your Indiana Pacers. You are now listening to The Final Word, the #1 Pacers podcast on the web, and I am your host, Raj. I just wanted to come to you guys real quick to share some thoughts. So, as you guys know, we've had a lot of changes go on recently with the Indiana Pacers. Some of them good. I think they were good. Some of them not so good, depending on what you're looking at. Me personally, I do like the changes that were made. So let's just get to it real quick. So, we've talked about before that we had picked up Jordan Nwora and George Hill, my man George Hill. Loved seeing him out on the court the other night. Can't wait to see him again tonight. Loved seeing my man George Hill. And we also picked up Sergey Bacca, which some people thought he was never going to see the floor. I was hoping he was going to. He didn't see the floor. Didn't see the state properly. And we dropped him. And I'm not sure if we mentioned before last time. No, we did mention last time, James Johnson. So there was some talk about James Johnson getting picked back up as soon as they dropped Sergey Bacca, because he was actually sitting in at one of the last games, Tyrese Halliburton's special seats for his parents or for his family or something like that. So he did get picked back up. So a lot of the guys on the team, I'm sure, were happy about that. I don't really honestly know a lot about James Johnson because he just got here this year. But apparently he's made a great effect on the locker room. And a lot of the guys honestly just get here this year anyway. But apparently his veteran presence and his locker room presence and I guess how he is with the guys, everybody liked him a lot. And from that standpoint, I think fans liked him too. I mean, I know I'm a fan, but like I said, I don't really know too much about James Johnson. But if he's good for helping to maintain the chemistry of our team, I'm all for that. Just like I'm all for my man George Hill. I love seeing George Hill in a Pacers jersey like you guys would not believe. I kind of went into this a little bit before on one of the last podcasts, but George Hill, when he left us and when he got traded in 2017, it hurt just as bad to me as when Paul George, got dealt. So when he went to the Jazz, I was like, I wanted to see him do well, but I just hated him seeing him in that Jazz uniform. When he went to Cleveland, same thing. My man George Hill, Cleveland jersey, wanted to do well, just hated seeing him in that uniform. And apparently, I can't remember, I guess he was with OKC. I don't know how long he was there, but he's been to a few teams. And then most recently, Milwaukee. Love seeing my man George Hill on the court. Great guy. But I hated seeing him in a non-Pacers uniform. Honestly, I think I hated seeing him in a non-Pacers uniform, honestly, a lot more than anybody else. More than Lance Stevenson, more than Paul George. And I think it honestly has something to do with the connection to the state of Indiana, because I knew he's from here. I'm a very, very much a hometown supporter. So as far as my teams, I only go really for Indiana teams. I'm a Pacer guy. I'm a Colts guy. As far as college teams are concerned, now you could say, okay, well, who are you with college teams? Are you for are you for IU? Are you for Purdue? Are you for, Notre Dame? I'm not for none of those people because I went to Ball State University, chirp, chirp, and that's my team. So that being said, I don't really keep up with them too much, to be quite honest. I don't, but that's just because I really don't keep up with college sports too much anyway. So yeah, I'm just very much like that. So if I'm going to go with the college, I'm going with Ball State. I'm not cheering for none of these other colleges. I didn't go there. I didn't get a degree from there. I'm very much a hometown, wherever I'm from, That's who I'm rocking with. And I've been watching some of these interviews George Hill's been involved in, and honestly, some people were like, okay, well, he's near the end of his career. Wouldn't he want to try to get a championship, get with the team who's going to get him a ring? And to tell you the truth, and he honestly, and I do believe this, he was saying he wanted to be kind of like a Udonis Haslem. And however long it's going to take him to retire, he hopes he's doing that in a Pacers jersey. And I really, really, really hope the Pacers don't mess him over on this. I really hope so. You never know. I liked seeing Lance Stevenson last year, and to tell you the truth, it was weird seeing George Hill in that number 7 jersey. Like 7? That just looks weird on him because he was number 3. So, and he said he even signed his, he signed somebody's autograph. He did autograph for somebody and wrote down number 3, George Hill, because he just, he was number 3 with the Pacers. He said he's getting used to that, being 7. He said he wasn't going to pick 1, and this is the reason he said he wasn't going to pick 1. He said because that's Lance's number. He said that's Lance's number. So I'm hoping, possibly, I know this is a stretch, I'm hoping somehow Lance Stevenson will end up on the Pacers again. I don't know how it could possibly happen. Why not? You say there's no room for him. I agree. There's really no room for Lance Stevenson. But having Lance Stevenson on this team again would bring so much recent Pacers nostalgia back. I think it would be worth it. People would light up if they saw Lance Stevenson and George Hill on the court together, running the play. That'd be amazing. Lance Stevenson and George Hill on the court together. Now, probably not going to happen, but it was just so nice to be able to see George Hill out there. It's nice to be able to see Lance. And on George Hill's first comeback game with the Pacers against his prior team, the Jazz, the team that we traded him off to, I was honestly hoping that, last year when Lance came, he had that magical quarter and scored like 20 points or 22 points or something like that off the bench, and it was amazing. Everybody's going crazy. And I think some people were kind of hoping another one of those magical moments happened, maybe with George. I don't know. George is a different type of player. He's not going to try to score. He's not going to try to be a scorer like Lance is. He's not flashy. He's just going to do what he's going to do to help the team. That's just kind of how he is. He's going to run the play. He needs to run to help the team. It's going to be in the spot he needs to be in to help the team. He's going to make the pass to help the team. So he's not necessarily looking to shoot. But he can definitely, and I hope they take advantage of him for this reason, to mentor the younger guys, help with defense. George Hill he didn't score a basket, which I'm pretty sure everybody was just gonna get an uproar if he scored a basket. Didn't score a basket, but his presence on the court was just so nice to see. You could see, I like seeing guys like him, and you might not say, but these are role players. Yeah, I agree. And their potential is, it's been realized, and now they're on the decline, which is true. But watching guys like George Hill and watching guys like Daniel Tice be on the court, just knowing that they know what to do and not look kind of frazzled and be clueless or not, overreact, to a play. It's just kind of nice seeing that. Like, cause I see Duarte overreact. I'll see Neesmith overreact to a play. But George Hill, he's solid. So also same thing, Tice, he's solid. So it says something. It's to say something to be able to be in the league that long and continue to play in your position. It kind of just has to be like clockwork. So yeah, obviously, George Hill, he's probably not going to be getting a ton of minutes. But he's on the Pacers, so I don't know. And it's the season's winding down. We don't really have a whole lot to look forward to except for seeing our rising stars, Benedict Mathurin and Andrew Nembhard, and the Rising Stars game, and then also seeing the one and only Tyrese Halliburton playing the All-Star game, which I think he's going to show out for the All-Star game. So we don't really have a whole lot to look forward to, except for that coming up. And then it's pretty much going to be possibly a continuous downward spiral. I don't know. But that being said, I personally think we should let George Hill go in and run it. Go ahead and take some of those minutes from TJ McConnell and throw George Hill in there a little bit more, just so we can see what can happen. Get the fans excited. Let George Hill get a 20-point game or something like that, and Pacers fans will be happy for now, And the funny thing about this, I was actually talking to my dad earlier, but the Pacers, they weren't trying to tank, but somehow we've slid backwards to a position to where we could have started tanking from the beginning. We're like in the, bottom 6 or bottom 5 spots in the NBA right now as far as our record. So yeah, I was talking to my dad about this, and we were like, yeah, it's kind of funny because they weren't trying to tank, and they did actually really well. They were 5 games above 500, but now they're in a position they could still get, that Victor Wembanyama everybody's, clamoring about. They could still be in position to get him, You never know, but at least another top pick, which will be definitely good. So it was actually a good thing that we did try to tank. And I don't think the players would just try to not play well together, because it's important to get time, experience, and develop chemistry. But it's just good that they had that feeling of being a great team and winning, and knowing that their potential is higher than what their record looks like right now. So I'm glad they were able to do that, get those experiences. And now let's just have fun for the rest of the season. And then it's going to be what it's going to be. I really don't want them to try to make a playoff push. I don't want them to just make it to the play-in to where their record is just good enough so they can lose, and then we're out of position to pick a really good draft pick. So that's not really what I want right now. I don't think that's what we really need to do. So I would like to see a whole lot more from, and I was talking to my dad about this as well, Isaiah Jackson. My dad said he is coming. I think he is too. So if he just develops a outside jumper, if he can knock down that 3, he'll be like Miles Turner. He could potentially be Miles Turner 2.0. I know that's talking a lot right now, but I don't know. He seems like he has the build to be able to put on some muscle and have it actually impact his game properly, which is something I don't think really Miles Turner ever really did, in my personal opinion, like I would have wanted him to. Like, for instance, I've used this example before. Giannis, for example. Giannis, when he came into the league, if you guys remember, was painfully skinny. Like, he looked like he just needed to eat a bowl of rice and beans, and drink a bowl of duck fat. I don't know. But, yeah, that man looks like a beast right now. He looks like beast mode. And he went from painfully skinny looking to where it just looks like you don't want to mess with this guy. So, and Isaiah Jackson never looked painfully skinny. He never really looked painfully skinny, but hopefully he works hard. I know he was talking about how he put on 15 pounds from last year to this year. What that's looking like now with the way their schedule is, I have no idea, and how their bodies change over the course of the season. But, hopefully he continues to work hard. I think he knows he has great potential. I mean, he's top 10. He's number 7 in the league in block shots right now. So we have Miles Turner, who's number 3, and then we have Isaiah Jackson, who's number 7, which I'll be straight up honest with you guys. I mean, I would love to see that work out somehow on the court together. I think Isaiah Jackson is fluid enough. If he can work on his defense around the perimeter, that he could actually, get some more power forward minutes. I think if we could have him at the power forward working with Miles Turner, as well as rotating in with Jordan Nwora. I think that'd be good. I don't really know how Neesmith is going to be at the power forward. I think they should really just go ahead and take him down to the small forward. And as far as the lineup's going to go, I'm not really sure, but I'm not really a super, I'm really not a super fan of having Nembhard in the lineup. So I could go without having Nembhard, but I think it would be nice to have a lineup of Tyrese at the point, Buddy Hield at the 2, Neesmith at the 3, and then Jackson and Jordan Nwora rotating at the 4. And I think that'd be good. And if we could get, obviously Tice isn't going to be long term. We can somehow get Jalen Smith up to speed, which I don't know what that's going to take. Rotating at the 5 with Miles. That would be optimal for me. Yeah, Jackson at the 4 with Nwora. That would just be amazing. Guys, think about that. And the Pacers, you guys, front office, you guys have had to think about this scenario in your mind. You have 2 of the top shot blockers in the entire league on your team right now. That's ridiculous. 2 of them. And they're both very good. Obviously, them being top shot blockers would equate them being very good. But, one's a high flyer. Getting those lobs brings excitement, lots of energy. And then another can stretch the floor. He's got that experience now. He's got that little hook jump shot around the rim. He's not really, beasting on guys. Sometimes people like to see a center, it's a bonus. People like to see somebody, just really bang in there down low, which we talked about that. It's not really important, I don't think. And honestly, for your career to last longer, you don't really probably need to do that. I'm sure Miles Turner would probably like to have a longer career. So I think Miles Turner is going to be a much better long-term center. So I'm glad we do have, glad we do have Miles Turner. But I just think there's a lot of potential for this team coming up. It's going to be very exciting to see how everything turns out. And I guess we're just going to see how this draft goes. But before all then, obviously, we still have to finish another season. But coming back from the last game, they played the Utah Jazz, and there was no Jalen Smith at all, and no Chris Duarte at all. So, it has to get you thinking. What's going on? Jalen Smith, I'm not too concerned about, but Chris Duarte, what's going on? George Hill got some play. People were talking about, George Hill, he's not going to get any play. He's not going to get any run. He's going to be on the bench. He's going to be like for real, Udonis Haslem. Now, George Hill's getting some play because he can play defense, and we struggle in defense. We are 29th in defense right now, which is quite ridiculous. 29th in defense. So, yeah, we need to get that together. And I think George Hill's going to help us. Obviously, he's not going to be leading it, but maybe they can rub off on guys. I don't know what's going to take, but hopefully that'll work out. But we had no Duarte. Like I said, Duarte's defense is very suspect, and we had no Jalen Smith. But we did have James Johnson come back. People were excited about that. And I think there's another thing I forgot to mention with this whole people getting waived and everything. We did not mention that Terry Taylor got waived at all in our last podcast. None of them. So, forgot to mention that. So, honestly, Terry Taylor, I know people liked him. I just don't understand how much potential he could have actually had to be a center who plays key minutes for us. Just because, I'm sorry, he's 6'5", so 6'5" center is only going to get you so far. He has heart and hustle and everything like that, but I don't know. He just needs to figure something else out. I don't know. I really don't know. He needs to work on a shot, do something. He needs to play. He needs to start figuring out how he can be small forward minutes with whoever he's going to be. I just don't know. 6'5" center NBA, doesn't make sense to me. And I know he's been able to get rebounds and he's done his thing, but I think really they just saw this is really all he's going to be and we need to do something. So It was much more important to have somebody like Jordan Nwora than having Terry Taylor. And also George Hill than having Terry Taylor. Because we had a ton of centers. Like, I don't even really think about him as being a center. I mean, we had, obviously, Miles Turner. Then we had Daniel Tice, who's been getting eaten up all the backup center minutes. Then we had Isaiah Jackson, who's really starting to eat up backup center minutes now, with Miles being out and everything. It's been It's been Tice and Jackson. And then we had Smith. Then we had Goga, 7-footer, which honestly I do miss Goga a little bit. I'm sad he's gone. I wish something would have materialized, but he's gone. It is what it is. And then we had Terry Taylor. I mean, that's a lot of centers. How we ended up with that many centers, I don't understand. And I think that's why Kevin Pritchard said that he thinks it's partially his fault that Goga didn't get opportunity. And I'd have to agree. It was definitely partially his fault. He just didn't have the opportunity to develop his game and get a really fighting chance to get some serious minutes, So, but it is what it is. I think who we have is who we're meant to have at this point. But yep, they're going to be playing the Bulls coming up, and it's going to be a great game. And I just wanted to get this in, guys, just so I could get some things off my chest. Preston's not here. He's attending to his kidly duties, because he's 14, so he's a kid, does stuff. It's not like me. But, all right, guys, hope you've enjoyed this special edition of The Final Word. I'll be back with you next time, definitely with Preston, and we're going to give you guys all the hotness, the freshness, and you guys take it easy. Make sure you share, like, subscribe to The Final Word. Hit that bell icon if you're listening and watching on YouTube, and share The Final Word with a friend. Share The Final Word with an enemy. Just share The Final Word and tune in. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Hey guys, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast snippet. If you'd like to continue the conversation with Preston and I, just click on the next video. But always be sure to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you'll be automatically notified each time we release a new episode. But until then, Martin says... Peace!